Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We will begin in just a few minutes.
Morning.
Good morning.
We have such a great group of people. Good to see everyone.
All right, we will go ahead and get started as people are trickling in. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Roxy Deer. I'm the Director of Membership and Education at the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce. And I'm so excited to have you here today for Brainstorm Your Business. This is part of the Love Local campaign, and we are spending the month of February celebrating our local businesses and giving them some extra support during some of the toughest months that they've had through this COVID experience. And so this is one of the webinars that we're bringing to you this month. And I'm excited because we have a great panel of speakers with us today. We have Ashley Sieb, Scott Underwood, and Melanie Howe. I'm so excited to have them here, and I'm going to hand it off to them right away. Ashley, you're going to kick us off today.
Yeah, that sounds great. Roxy, I can go ahead and share my slides.
Yeah. If you have questions throughout the webinar while Ashley gets her slides up, you can drop those in the chat box either to the entire group or you can send me a private message and we will make sure we get to those questions at the end.
All right, thanks, Roxy. So it looks like we have my slides up, which is awesome. In the chat, if you could, I have the window put up to the side. If you could just tell me in one word, how are you feeling right now? One word in the chat to describe how you're feeling. Melissa says hopeful. Scott says anxious, overwhelmed, exhausted, overwhelmed, Monday, tired. Oh, I relate to all of these. There's a cool, Lori said cool. There's an energized by Roxy, some optimistic in there. Well, I will just say that if you feel that way, let's flip that around. How do you think your customers are feeling right now? We all just kind of self-identified where we're at. Where are our customers? What do we think our customers are feeling? Confused, isolated, hesitant, tired but hopeful, stressed. Customers are frustrated, eager, missing customers. We don't know where they are. Yeah. Does anybody relate to this GIF right here? This is me like every day, I feel like. And I know some of you are business owners that I often shop at. So when you think of some of the answers you gave, and you know that this is how I feel, and we all said up front that we feel this way too, we can imagine that a lot of us feel this way. And when we feel this way, we don't perform our best. We kind of isolate ourselves, like some of you already said. And then we start to lose that creative potential, that hopefulness that we feel on the inside. So today I'm going to take y'all to therapy. We're going to do this. We're going to get through some hard conversations and questions. And I'm going to walk you through some questions that you can use to kind of help come out of that burnout phase, to help take that match inside of you and ignite it again so that we're not totally depleted on the other side, and that we can actually have something meaningful and hopeful come out of this conversation today. So I've seen these little charts on the internet all the time. I don't even know what they're called. There's like a fancy name for these, I'm sure. But this is where my head went when I thought of how do I tell what I want to tell everyone today. So I want you to think of this. You can even jot things down if you want to. I'm going to share these slides with you after. Roxy, you're more than welcome to email my slides. But just to practice what I'm trying to do here, I want you to think about, you have your brand. That's why you're here. And we just agreed that your customer is tired, they're overwhelmed, they're anxious. So that's another bubble into this mix. And then we also know that your customer has a problem. And we don't mean this in a snarky way. Like we really mean like they have something in their lives that they need you to fix, provide, help, give them hope, give them inspiration. And this is kind of our grid where we're at. This is our current state grid. I don't even know what these things are called, but I know we can all agree to this. And there's a path to get to the middle. There's a Venn diagram. Thank you, Scott Underwood, with your awesome connection to life with what I'm talking about here. There's a path to get to that middle part. And I drew this really squiggly on purpose because it's not easy and it's hard. And you already agreed that you feel a little overwhelmed this morning, but there is an idea in here to help you today. There is something that you can walk away with today, even if that path is messy and confusing and you circle one way and then you go the other way. There is something there that will help you that you can actually implement in the next 30 days, and I'm positive of it. So I tried to put together some examples of local people and businesses who've actually done something similar to this. I've not talked to some of these people directly, but I have actually done some research, and actually Lori Troutwine, who is on the call, I've talked to her about some of the things that she's done. Now with Primex, you can see how they took this idea of working on car products, and they actually said, we know that there is a way to use our product line to keep our community safe while also in their world making a profit too. So they knew that there was power and potential to take their current product line and make it fit existing needs that were in the world today. So you'll see this is just a screenshot of a landing page on their website. I'm going to tell you why I like it. Number one, it gives me a detail of what they've done. They're introducing this new product line. They also, on the side here, they have a call to action box for you to sign up to get more information. So they're collecting leads by telling this story of innovation. They're not just simply putting it out on social media and expecting you to, kind of remember them later. They're actually saying, if this is meaningful for you, fill out this form and we're going to tell you more. And then I also like on the very bottom, although it's a little clipped off there, you can see that they're actually talking about what they've done with golf cart dividers, right? So they're showing you multiple ways that they've actually transformed their product line and done something different and unique. I know Lori's on the call today. So hi, Lori. Everybody say hi, Lori, in the chat, because I know she's on here. I want to hype her up because she actually realized that people were no longer coming to the countertop to do their shopping. I am one of those people that's like super nervous of going out in public just right now. And that is, if you know me, just naturally against who I am. I'm a hugger. I am always in the community, just running around with Cooper. And now like my anxiety is just through the roof. And I don't really like to leave my house a lot, to be honest with you. And that means that as a business, you have to figure out how to connect with me differently. So Lori actually created a mobile app for her business. She has already started to have, I think, over 100 downloads, I want to say. I don't know, Lori, if you're on the call, but that's impressive. That is 100 people who are advocates of her saying, I believe in you and your business and what you're doing, and I want to find a new way to buy with you. It's going to take time. And I imagine that app downloads will continue to rise as everything goes up. I think that's impressive. And it's such an innovative way of investing in your business and meeting your customer where they are. 300 plus as of this morning. So Lori messaged me last week. We were talking, she had 100 last week and she's up to 300, right? This is amazing. This is an amazing idea of meeting your customer where they are and actually serving them with something that makes sense. So I was able to check out her mobile app, download it, do the live shows, see what inventory she has in stock, because anxious Ashley, I don't want to drive myself to the store, get there and my pant size be gone, right? So now I can go make sure it's in stock. I can actually buy it ahead of time, pick it up, say hello and get out, right? And now I'm happy and I feel safe and she's made money. So it's come full circle. The last example that I'll give you before I dive into is how do we turn this into Brainstorm? What does this mean for you on the call? Is an example of this weekend. So we had the Super Bowl obviously yesterday. I don't know if anybody's feeling tired from that. I feel tired as a marketer. I'm constantly trying to watch the commercials and see, what I can take away from those and just interesting dynamics that happen online. But 5 Arch, you'll notice they actually did a fun little party pack with their product. Right? They don't always offer party boxes. I don't go in and see on the reg all these, options for a burger box with fries that cost me $125. But if I was having, like 1 or 2 people over and I wanted to have something fun and I didn't do a lot of cooking, this would be the perfect thing to do. And then you'll also see with Giggle Box Treats here, this is actually a screenshot that I took of a post that came up on my feed. And I saw these cookies and I was like, I'm going to eat all these by myself. Like, I don't care like if I'm not going anywhere, I'm going to eat all these cookies by myself. And they're so cute. I shared them on social media when I picked them up. That one post of me as a user who, again, I went from anxiety to excitement because of the product. I didn't need it, but it made me feel happy, right? Yes, Melissa, great way to eat your veggies. And this is the first broccoli Cooper's ever eaten in his life. All right. Like, this is a big deal, people. And we were able to actually, just really enjoy this. And it brought joy to me, and something that a lot of us would have reflected on and thought, this is different, this is hard. And I was able to flip all those emotions around as a consumer, which is what you want to do too. So you'll see in their post, they were thoughtful. They put the shop now button and the send message button in there in their post and kind of customized it so it could be ready to go, linking to their page to actually buy the product. A big pet peeve of mine as a consumer, if you want me to buy something and I don't go to the exact page and I have to hunt around on your website, I'm not going to do anything. So if I'm already anxious and overwhelmed and you don't make it easy for me, you don't tell me exactly where to go to buy this, I'm not going to buy it. So if I was taking notes here today, I would say I need to make it easy and simple because my customers are overwhelmed. I need to tell them exactly where they need to go. So let's turn this into brainstorming. Let's turn this into action. This is the therapy part of today combined with business marketing. So let's dive in deeper as to what can empathy and action help you do for your business. So I've created 4 questions that will help you do this exercise. Some of you have joined a little late. I just want to remind everyone that these slides will be available so you can do this on your own, because I only have like 8 more minutes and I cannot get very thorough on every slide. So please bear with me here. First question I want you to write down and reflect on is, how is my customer feeling? The good news is you're already ahead of this because you did this at the start of the call. You already put it in the chat. You already have a good idea of where this is at with your customer mindset. And this is the empathy piece. Great innovation starts with empathy. All right. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. Great innovation starts with empathy. All right. Empathy for our customers and our end users. Second question I want you to ask is, how can I help my customer feel better? This is where your ideas start to come to life. This is where you take that current state feeling, that current state emotion, and you put a solution around it. When you get to this point, you need to have the mindset of true brainstorming. And true brainstorming means everything's on the table. So this means if you are the type of person who comes from a place of no, and you always see the obstacle, you need to have someone else in the room with you who is like me, that comes from the place of yes and always sees the potential. This doesn't mean you're bad, or it doesn't mean you're negative. It just means you are self-aware and you know you need someone around you who can help you see potential. Okay. This is a great activity to do with people who aren't even close to your brand because they see it from a different way. All right. So don't just think I have to lean on the same 4 people. You can honestly do this exercise and start brainstorming ideas with people who know nothing about you. And I would actually encourage you to do that. This question's really important and it feeds into what I just told you. What barriers prevent me from helping my customers better? These are your excuses. This is what you have told yourself time and time again as to why you have not done that idea that you have in your head. You have to put these on paper. You have to say them out loud. You have to document what is your excuse or your excuses or your concerns or your roadblocks, and own them. Because this is just like going to therapy. This doesn't work unless you're honest, okay? You need to write these down. You need to put them on Post-it notes, and you need to lay them all out there. Because the moment you claim those, the moment you can start to put ideas behind them. The moment you claim them, you can start to put solutions behind them. So then that leads to your last question that I want you to ask. But what is one improvement I can make today to help my customers feel better with the idea that I have in mind? So this is your path forward. This is the one thing that you see to move forward. Because if you're like me and you're naturally overwhelmed and you're naturally anxious, you see the 30 steps ahead of you. And you don't do anything, right? Can anybody relate to that? Like you just feel so overwhelmed that you do nothing because you see the whole set of stairs. Like I'm picturing Indianapolis, Indiana, or when they run up those stairs at that monument, like you just see every single step. So you do nothing and you turn around and you go the other way. I want you to do one step, one improvement, one step. You can write down on Post-it notes all of those potential one steps and then start to move them around to see the most attainable option. All right. This is where I'm going to give you some slides to reflect on, and I can't go deep on these. This is called design thinking. This is a glimpse of what I'm teaching you right now. Design thinking is a concept that you can take to apply to how you create ideas in your business, in your life, all over the place. Again, it starts with the empathy piece, moving us into how do we define what we want to do? How do we actually ideate, prototype, test, and implement? All right. And then go ahead and think of how do we turn this to life? All right. This is the most important part because you've done the hard work up front because you empathized. You defined what you want to do and you ideated on more than one idea. The key with design thinking is that you come up with 5 to 7 different prototypes before you actually test it. So if you can think of a challenge that you have, you want to come up with 5 to 7 solutions. Then you start to get feedback on those before you actually launch it, okay? This is another just quick visual to show you how do I actually do this at home. If you're a Post-it note person, like a pen and paper, I love pen and paper. I have it with me all the time. I think I'm going to be like, I buy all these digital tools, but then I always go back to pen and paper. If that's you, I know Roxy's shaking her head. That's her too. I know that about her. Pen and paper, get Post-it notes, put them up on your wall. You don't have to have a whiteboard. I just want you to start to get creative. I want you to stand. Steve Jobs would never have an idea in his mind or an important call unless he was walking while he was talking, because he knew moving his body changed his mind to fuel different ideas. So get off your feet, put the Post-it notes. What are my assumptions that I'm making? How do I turn those into questions? And then feed that design thinking process that I just taught you on the last slide. This is an exercise. If you think, Ashley, this is great, but empathy is really confusing for me. I don't understand how to apply this to my business. This is a customer empathy map. Again, just draw it out on a piece of paper and think of these aspects, put a real customer at the center of this. So if I were, Roxy and I was working on a campaign to support business owners, right? Like she's doing right now, that would probably be one of your faces right there. And she would say, how do I understand what these business owners are thinking and feeling? What are they seeing around them? What are they saying and doing? What are they hearing? And she's going to document all of these ideas, and then she's going to turn those into questions to come up with a solution. Okay, so again, this would be that first step exercise. So you're going to see in a minute, I'm going to prioritize these for you to show you what I think you should do after this call. Oh, perfect timing. This is my slide. I'm almost done. So what I want you to do after today, this is your brainstorming homework, and we'll also be able to ask questions at the end. I've seen a few come in the chat, so I'll be taking notes as other people are talking. I want you to do that customer empathy map for your customers. This slide right here that I just taught you, I want you to take a screenshot of this, or I want you to just write it out on your own. And I want you to think about what your customers are thinking, feeling, saying, and doing, and hearing. This is really important work, all right? This is soul work for your business. I want you then to think of, after I do this exercise, what are the 5 to 7 new ideas that I have? Grab that friend who knows nothing about your business, all right? This is where the ideas start to really come to life because they're not jaded because they haven't tried things that you've tried. This is frustrating work. This is really hard. You need that outside perspective. I want you to test those ideas before you launch them. Get user feedback. Ask. User feedback means your client feedback, your audience feedback, right? That's just kind of design thinking terminology. But I want you to start thinking of how do you get feedback before you test it. I don't know if Lori's on the call still, if she can drop in the chat. Did she test her app with like maybe 5 customers before she launched it? I'm sure she did. I'm going to guess that she tested it before it went out in the world. And if she didn't, that's okay. It turned out great. You did great either way. But I will encourage you to get feedback, because I always had a college professor tell me, red means I love you, when she would mark up my papers in college. Red means I love you. Those red pen marks, it means I love you. I care about you. I want you to do better. And then I want you to launch your idea in the next 30 days and be proud of what you came up with. So I have more slides to share with my team here. So I'm going to stop sharing so we can dive into Scott.
Scott, we'll go ahead and let you share your screen for your slides. Lori says she test drove her app so many times she forgets how many.
That is awesome. That's great.
Okay, Roxy, so you see my slides?
I do.
So I'm figuring out that I shouldn't have gone after Ashley. I should have gone before, just because of, style and energy and all that. But as I was looking at her slide where she had the squiggle, it made me real uncomfortable, because I'm not a squiggle person. I'm more of a let's get nice square lines. Let's figure this out. And so what I would say is this is going to be more about your business than your person. But if you're a small business, your business is your person and your person is your business, and they reflect one or the other. So really, for me, it's a little bit trying to make it a little bit more concrete. Not because what she did was wrong. I think what she did is awesome, but I think people need to sometimes go okay, enough of that. How do I start putting something into a little bit more concrete format? And so I don't know who's familiar with the SWOT analysis, and it's not working, of course. Hold on.
You might have to share again. Stop share and start the share again.
I'm sharing. All right. I'm not getting, we tested this, everybody, before we started, so I want some credit for practicing. Resume slideshow. Let's try that. Okay. We see that?
Yes.
Okay. So SWOT is just a very simple format for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so the beginning of any year, the beginning of any kind of period that you're in is a good time for you to step back and be introspective. In the same way that Ashley was asking people to be introspective personally, this is more introspective about your business. And so the very first thing is to say, so beyond that, with the life that we lived in 2020, what our SWOT analysis might have looked like in February 2020 may look a whole lot different than February 2021. Things that were strengths are gone, and things that are weaknesses are maybe better, and threats. We certainly understand what external threats look like. We've been threatened for almost a year now. And so if we just start with strengths, it really is as what am I good at? And as a company, what am I good at? And so are we in a good financial situation because of what we had done before COVID hit, and then now it's allowed us to get through this? Or are we great with our customers? Ashley just went and showed a lot of good examples of people that were engaging with their customers and were feel like that's a very strong thing for you, that we are really in touch with our customers. They came out for us during COVID. I did a good job connecting with them, and they stayed engaged with us. Are we selling something that's unique? Are we different than the other person down the street that does the same thing that we do? There in Newcastle, where I live, there's on Road 3, there's 6 hamburger places. And so what's your unique selling point of your hamburger place against Wendy's or McDonald's or Burger King or whatever? And then lastly, just, do you know stuff that other people don't know? If you've been in business for a long, long time, just because of your experience, you know how to do things better. If you are a consultant, do you know other different things than your competition knows? And so when I look at strengths today, it could be like, hey, there were 3 of us when we started at COVID time, and now there's just 1 of us. And so because I'm still here, that's a strength. And it feels bad to win through attrition, but that's sometimes just how it is. So the first thing is, if you just reflect back on your business, what are my strengths? If you don't know what they are, or if you're not comfortable with that level of reflection, ask somebody else that knows you, and ask somebody else that will tell the truth. It's easy for someone to say, oh, you're really good at such and such. And the question is, back to Ashley's introspection, am I? I know that I think I'm good at this. I think we're great at customer service, but I've asked other people and they said, yeah, kind of not so much, right? And so back to Ashley again, it's important to tell the truth to yourself and about your business and yourself. And so the very first thing is, just as we think about this, what are my strengths? And so strengths and weaknesses are internal, opportunities and threats are external. So strengths and weaknesses are things that are inside your company. Opportunities and threats are things that are outside your company. So if we move on then to, and I don't have the chat open, so if somebody needs someone to holler out if there's a question or something that I need to address. So if we go to weaknesses, just the opposite of strengths. What are we not good at? We were cutting it so close before COVID that we've really been hamstrung with our finances. We don't have the ability to invest in inventory, so we're slow on our delivery, or we don't have the kind of selection that we'd like to have because we just don't have the money to do the things that we need to do. And then how does that hurt your business? If people come in looking for 50 items and you have 4 items, how does that affect your business? And so what do you have to do then to start addressing that weakness? Do you need to get financing? Do you need to do something differently than what you're doing? Customer weaknesses. So are you either bad at customers or your customers are bad with you? They are, you think you have a great relationship because you're Coke, but every time Pepsi goes on sale, they all jump ship. And so you think you're really good because you're Coke, but your customers don't have any brand loyalty. So they're a weakness of yours that you're not able to connect with them, or they're not able to connect with you. And so just assuming that they'll be here no matter what I do and wherever I go, it may not be accurate. And last thing is internal weaknesses. And for many people I know, that's staffing, right? It's staffing. We can't find good people. We can't get them to stay off their phones. We can't get them to treat people the way that I would treat them. And so there's this just internal weakness of, we have a great plan. I'm a great owner. We have a great product. We just can't execute because we have problems internally. Maybe it's your accounting system and you need to outsource that. Maybe it's things that you try to do yourself that you need to get a vendor to do for you. But how do those internal weaknesses preventing you from being successful? So we did strengths and weaknesses, which are internal. We're getting ready to go to the external stuff that's outside of your control times. So opportunities are just, as I said earlier, we're the only game left in town. Everybody else went out of business. That's an opportunity for me. If I don't take advantage of that opportunity, then that's my fault. I could have maybe done better, but it's not an opportunity till I actually go and try to take advantage of it. There also can be things, if you read the trends and you look at what's happening, in your community, in the state. If we look at kinds of businesses that serve seniors and that kind of aging population, there's opportunities there. I love the opportunity that Gigglebox took to make something that people really want to eat and disguise it as something that nobody wants to eat. And they saw the opportunity coming up that, hey, the Super Bowl coming up and we can take advantage of this. So I think from that perspective, that was very, like, what's going on outside of our lives that we could take advantage of. Primex once again took advantage of the plastic shields, and they saw that coming down the road, and they picked up PPE to do that because they could make those kinds of things. And people that have been successful have seen those opportunities and shifted their businesses to meet where in hockey, they say you want to skate to where the puck is going, not where it is, right? And so they have skated to where the puck was going, and they've gotten there and they've taken advantage of that. And so once again, back to, do you have a unique selling point? And if you don't tell somebody that you have one, you don't have it. So are you missing opportunities because you are not telling people that you do have an app, or that you are open on Sundays, or that whatever that thing is, that's giving you an opportunity to take advantage of? And then are you getting out and telling people what that is? And lastly, do you have knowledge that that people don't know about? I had a client one time say, we are the cheapest in town. Everybody comes to us to solve their problems, and we're so busy we can't keep up, and we're not making any money. And those things don't go together. So if you are the most knowledgeable, then charge for that. If you're always too busy, then raise your prices to slow that down. How do you take advantage of the things that you have inside your company and what those opportunities bring up? And then lastly, I guess I would talk about threats. I don't think we need to hit that too heavily, except to say that in January 2021 or January 2020, if I ask a question about what are external threats, people really had a hard time understanding what those are. And in February 2021, everyone knows exactly what those things are. They are the economy that takes a dump because of COVID. They are COVID themselves. They are all the things that everything we experienced in 2020 for the most part are threats. And you didn't have any control over them. You couldn't do anything about it. At the same time, there were things that were impacting your business. And so what's the point of thinking about threats? It's to start trying to figure out what your solution would be if they come. If they tear up the road in front of your building, what would you do? And then the answer is start doing it now, right? If they would shut you down again, Lux Lizzie said they would shut you down again, what would you do? I would sell on my app, and I would deliver, and I would do whatever. If I lost my key employee, this is a good one. If your key employee got hit by a bus, what would you do? Because I just had a client where the owner had a heart attack, and that could have been, fortunately he was okay, but it could have been the end of that particular company because they didn't have any kind of plan in place to do that. So and this is the opposite of the smiley happy conversation, but this is the doomsday scenario. If this happens, what would I do? And many people unfortunately have had to kind of smash that glass and pull out the in case of emergency whatever because of this past year. Any questions in the chat? Anyone? No? Okay. So if you look at, our favorite term is, a business plan and financial projections, and your least favorite term is business plan and financial projections. But the question really is as you start laying out some kind of plan, as informal as it is, even if it's sticky notes on the wall, it really is back to Ashley's conversation. What problem are you solving for your customers? What is your market? Who are your competitors, and what are they doing, and how are they doing, and are they better than you, and that kind of thing? And then are you marketing your business? If you're better than your competition, do your customers know that? Are you good at telling them that? Do they understand how important it is that you are a CPA versus someone else who's a bookkeeper, or that you have done this and somebody else hasn't done that? So I guess the question is, do you have a plan, and then are you executing some version of that? Create and check out your financial forecast. During COVID, people that were not keeping good books were penalized by the government, by in all the various loan funds. They were asking for your books. They were asking for your profit and loss. They were asking for an understanding of the financial position of your business. And many people could not even produce that very basic document, and it hurt them. And so the first thing is, do you have financials? Do you have forecasts? And then if you do you look at them? Do you know what your sales are supposed to be? Do you know what your margins are supposed to be? Do you know what your expenses are? Do you need to find different vendors? Can you raise your price? Just understanding how to manage and run your business from a profit and loss statement instead of from your checkbook or just from your hip. That is the difference of financial planning, of projecting. And if you sell $1 million worth of stuff, but it costs you $1 million, all you are is busy, and you're not making any money to the bottom line. So you can brag to your friends that I sold $1 million last year, and they say, well, then why are you going out of business? Well, because I didn't make any money at the end of the day. So when you have a projections and plan, you kind of know this has to happen for this to happen for me to get to where I want to get to. Lastly, I think this is us, and this was the advertising portion of the program. And so we're here to help you do the things that I just suggested. We're here to help you work through the things that Ashley talked about. And then I don't know what the last one's going to be, but I'm sure we're up to help for that as well. And with that, I am done. And are there any questions?
I've included our speakers' contact information at the end of the slides today, so you'll be able to reach out to them as well. Scott, while Melanie is switching screens, why don't you tell a little in detail of some of the work that the SBDC does for small businesses?
So we are free help to small businesses in the community. And so we do everything from should I do this or should I not do this to I think I want to do this. What does this look like? To I've started doing this and it's going okay. How do I scale it? To I need to get a business loan. Do I need to find a location? What can I afford? To I need help with claiming my Google Dot or marketing or internet marketing or staffing or operations or QuickBooks or any of that stuff. So I would say some standard stuff and then just some a la carte stuff that people can just say, hey, do you help with this?
Absolutely. Scott is a great resource for all of our small businesses, and they've been vital for the success during COVID-19. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat box for Scott right now, and we're going to hand it over to Melanie.
What's going on, everybody? Scott, that was awesome. Ashley, thanks for getting us all touchy-feely this morning too. So, all right, so I'm going to talk to you guys about, I guess we're going to bring some fun to your marketing. All right, so here's the deal. Everybody knows at this point that things are challenging, but what's really important is to make connections. And it's harder to make connections today than it was a year ago for all the obvious reasons that we're not going to talk about, right? And I will not use the word unprecedented times and all those things. We're over all that. We're going to talk about moving forward. And I said earlier, you know, in the text, in the chat, I said, be bold, because what Scott was talking about and about, you know, putting yourself out there and make it, and Ashley was talking about, they're both talking about, you have to tell people what it is you do, and you have to put yourself out there. You have to be bold in your pricing, and you need to be bold in telling people what you do and what you're good at, right? And I think sometimes we're a little too wishy-washy because we're scared, right? We're too scared of rejection. That's really what it boils down to. We're scared to charge enough, and we're scared to tell people what it is that we can offer because we're afraid they're going to say no. And people will say no, but some people will say yes. So I have a motto, and it's don't let your gifts go ungiven. And you cannot share your gifts with the world if you don't tell people what your gifts are or share them, right? And so that's what that's all about. But we're going to talk about making connections so that you can do that. So social media is not there for you to sell. Okay, social media is there for you to make connections. I see a lot of small businesses get this wrong over and over and over, and they only post anything when they have something to offer, something to sell, or something to promote. You should be doing that, but you should also be using social media to connect. And there's a million ways we can do that today. We have Facebook groups, we have all these other things, but let's talk about how we get people to even be attracted to you in the first place. That's in your content. But I'm going to talk to you today about some different ways that I want you to be showing up in 2021 that might be a little bit different than how you've shown up in the past. You know, I see we have Lynn Lake here today, who is actually a student in a couple of my programs. And I know that she and her husband have changed the way they've been showing up. So I just want to give a shout out to Lynn. And poor Lynn's going to hear some stuff from you that she's probably heard from you a million times, but that's okay. So she's here for it. But here's the deal. So there's different ways that we can actually show up in our content, and there's ways that we can show up in how we communicate with people. And so it's really important that I'm going to go through a few tactics with you today, but I'm already going to call about half of the room out right now because you're not showing your face. And that is one of the things. So if you need to like maybe do something like put a little bit of lip gloss on or whatever, I'm going to ask you to turn your camera on in here in just a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and forewarn you now while I talk about the first tactic, which has nothing to do with video. It actually has everything to do with something else, and that is audio. I want you to be using audio. Now, what do I mean by using audio? Well, Ashley knows this because whenever I text Ashley, I'm too lazy to type it because one, I always typo things and auto text always takes over and it doesn't say the words I want to say, especially some of the 4-letter words that I prefer to say. It likes to just overcorrect. So when I say use audio, what I'm talking about is in your actual text messages. So you have customers that you probably text with because especially in the small local market, we actually can have intimate relationships with our customers. And so you may actually have text conversations with them. Well, what if somebody sent you something and said, I really love this necklace I bought from your store? Well, you could say, thanks in a text message. I'm so glad. Or you could get on and click the audio button and record your voice saying, I am so grateful that you sent me this message this morning. It made my day. And it was so great to see you the other day. And you know what? I am just thrilled that you love the necklace. So thank you so much for reaching out. That comes across a lot differently than thanks, appreciate your message or whatever, right? And so I actually want you to be using audio in how you communicate, not only in text messages, but also in direct messages. And this is going to be your direct messages in your social media. So customers might DM you, or somebody might ask a question or post on they might comment on one of your posts. Well, you could follow up with that person by sending them a direct message, but don't just send them a text direct message, record your voice. Almost every social media platform gives you the opportunity to record your voice. LinkedIn even has it. Instagram has it. Facebook has it. They all have it now. And you want to know why they all have it now? Because it works. It started out with one of them and then the rest of them followed suit. It's because it works. They're giving us these tools for a reason. And so when you need to be looking for this little icon, that's what you need to be doing. Now, there are also apps that you might want to consider. Maybe you have vendors, partners. Maybe you guys have some business peers and you guys have a little inner circle where you all brainstorm together and you help each other out. I have 2 women that are in the same industry as I. We are online entrepreneurs. We help people all across the country, actually the world, and we help people with our services. One is a speaking coach. The other one helps people start podcasts, and I help people with putting themselves out there with live video. We use this app called Voxer, and every single day we go back and forth, and it's an audio messaging app basically, and we talk to each other. It's like texting but with audio, and it really works because we can hear each other, we can hear the inflection in our voices, and we're able to support and help each other. So start out with like some business friends or whatever, and like brainstorm with each other, help each other out. But you could also create a channel for customers, and you could create a channel for VIP customers. You could create all kinds of different ways to interact with people. But I want you to be using these apps because they actually will help you create these amazing relationships. And it's, again, all about connection. So I want you to be using audio. And I'm telling you, the first time you do this, and if somebody has never had, you will literally like blow their mind, and you'll be like the most amazing, like business person, smart. I'm telling you, I sometimes am shocked. I'll send someone an audio message, and the way they respond, I'm like, how have you never had someone send you? How am I the first person? Like, I've been doing this for like 2-3 years. And there's still so many people out there that have never had anyone take the time to send them an audio message. So if you're like the first person to send them one, you are literally going to be like remembered for the rest of their life. Like, for real, I promise you will make their day. I think even Ashley, sometimes when I send them to her, she's like, I always forget about this. And then, then she sends me one back. So here's the moment of truth, you guys. And I'm going to go back and take a look at you all right now because I want to see faces. So I have 2 monitors here. Oh, see, Daniel showed up. Hello, Daniel. It's nice to see your face today. So Daniel was not showing us his face, right, earlier, but he is now. So you got to turn on the freaking camera, y'all. Like, you got to turn on the camera. I'm sorry for being so bold and direct, but if you were at the actual chamber networking event right now and you had your coffee and your muffins before the 3 of us went up on stage, well, how would you be showing up to that event? Why aren't you showing up this way today? Why aren't you showing up this way still? Because you're working from home, or because you're multitasking, or because you're not actually listening to me? I don't know. How would you show up in the room at a networking event where you were coming to learn? You would show up with your notebook. There she is. Hello, Lori. Yeah. So you would be showing up. You should still be showing up. And I know there's a lot of nerves and a lot of, I'm in my pajamas. That is okay. I don't have any shoes on. I have my slippers on underneath here, right? And you feel semi-okay, then I want you to know that you should be showing up and nobody cares. We're all in the same boat. There's Louise. Hello, Louise. Good morning. Good morning. All right. There's Angel. She's back. She was on earlier. There's Jordan. Hello. See, here's the deal. It feels funky and you're like, oh man, I don't feel like I look. Just do it. Just do it anyway. We're all friends here. All right. If you can't show up in a Zoom meeting, you're not going to be able to show up in your business. I'm sorry. I know that's really, I'm a tough love kind of girl. So that's how it is. All right. I want you to know there are some tips that will help you look better on camera. One is I want you to buy a tripod. I want you to go buy a $12 tripod at whatever store you like to shop at. This is going to help you put your phone or whatever stable so you're not holding it. You're not propping it up against books or paint cans. You know, that's an inside joke because before the meeting, we were talking about all the scrappy ways we have I have one of these lights propped up on paint cans right now, but y'all can't see it, so it doesn't matter. So, but if you have the tripod, you're going to be able to focus and actually be more engaged in your videos instead of having to hold on to that phone. Plus, it's going to be stable, which is going to be a lot better for everybody else. Natural light is your friend. So if you don't have good lighting, face a window, face a patio door. If you're in the kitchen, just turn and face one of the windows, right? So natural light is going to help you look great on camera. And then get that camera up high, right? So the higher the angle, it's a little bit more of a flattering angle, right? So if you have a laptop and you're like, well, my laptop's on my desk and it's below me, that's okay. Go find a shoebox. Find a shoebox, find something, one of your kids' toys, and just put the laptop on. And then when you're done with your meeting or whatever it is, then you can take it back down, right? And so you want that camera to be eye level or just a little bit above. And that's going to help with a more flattering angle for sure, okay? And you don't have to worry about if you blew your nose correctly and all those things too. All right, as I said, lighting is your best friend. This is me and the Innovation Connector in Muncie, Indiana, standing in the exact same spot, except facing 3 different directions. On the left, I'm facing the doors where the light's coming in. In the middle, I'm actually facing the wall and there's lights behind me. So it actually is not a very flattering look. It creates the shadows. And then what I see people do all the time is because they have this beautiful window and it's gorgeous outside and they put the windows behind them because they think that's what people want to see, right? Well, no, it actually washes you out when we have those lights that do that. So you have to be careful about that. You want to actually face the windows and you look at the beautiful scenery and just focus on looking good on camera. Okay. So hello, Amanda. She turned her camera on as well. Okay. So that's one of the things I wanted to say because people are always like, I don't like how I look or whatever. Here's the deal. You can also invest in some equipment. And so if you have a laptop and it has a built-in camera inside, it's most likely not a great quality camera. Okay. A lot of our laptops, the cameras that come in built to these things, they're just lower quality. So you may want to go buy an HD webcam. So I am actually using a mirrorless camera, a Sony a6100. If you have a nice camera, you can actually use that as a webcam, but you have to have a capture card. So the bottom picture is you can also go real high end if you really want to. You also may want to invest in a microphone. Now, Ashley this morning is talking on a pair of headphones that has a microphone built into it. Totally fine. Totally fine. You're going to get better audio. And when people can hear good quality audio, it stands out. I probably am standing out because I'm using a decent microphone. So you can also upgrade to microphones. And then you may want to consider a lighting upgrade. So if you're in an office and you're like, okay, I want to show up on video, I'm going to be, or my studio or my store or whatever, but you don't have good natural lights or you don't have a good spot, maybe buy a ring light. Or if you're going to go crazy and you want to go big or go home, go buy a couple softbox lights. Worst case, I forgot to grab them. You could go buy some paper shade lamps at Lowe's and put a daylight LED bulb inside of it. And you know what you have? You almost have 2 softboxes. Get 2 of those cheap paper shade lamps, put them up and flank them left and right of your computer. And you've actually got yourself a nice little studio at your desk. So that's one thing you might want to consider as well. Now, I want you to send video messages too. Remember how we talked about audio messages? Now you're like, oh my God, she's making me turn my camera on at the Zoom meeting. Now she wants me to actually record myself and send a video to somebody. Yes, I do actually. That's exactly what I want you to do. So there are some apps that make this kind of communication amazing. If any of you are on my email list, I think a few of you are, you know that I don't really type emails. You know why? Same reason I don't like to type text messages. I make mistakes. It takes me too dang long. I rather just click record and send you a beautiful video message that says, hey, let me tell you about my latest podcast episode. Yada, 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 yada. And then I send it. I use an app called Dub. Now, Bongiorno, BombBomb, they are all going to do the same thing. They allow you to actually record a quick video and send a link to somebody. There are some other apps. Voxer, as I mentioned earlier, also lets you record videos and do the same. So go check out these apps, right? And I'll send, and Roxy has my slides. She can send you guys this stuff in email, however she wants to share this stuff with you. And then I know I said use audio. I said turn your camera on for the Zoom meeting. Now I'm telling you to record a video and send it to somebody. And now I'm telling you to actually just go live, right? Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you to do. And, I mentioned Lynn earlier. She's been in my live video bootcamp program. And, her and her husband do these awesome videos in your community on live video where they go around, and it's great, right? It works. You know why it works? Because people want authenticity. You don't get more authentic and raw except for using live video. So yes, you could pre-record videos and you could upload them and they'd be great. But I also want you to just literally open it up and just click go live. And I want you to actually talk live on video. You're gonna be like, Melanie, that makes me have heart palpitations. Like I would rather die than go live on video and talk about my business. Well, you know what? It works. And here's the thing, it's actually easier. You know why it's easier? Because people aren't going to expect perfection. So if you need to cough or sneeze or take a sip of water, that's what people expect, because it's just like if they were in the store with you. If they were in the store with you and they asked you a question about your business, would you go pull up a piece of paper and read a script to them? No, you'd be like, oh, let me show you this. This is so cute. It just came in the other day, yada, yada, yada. That's exactly what I want you to do on my video. And that's the experience you're providing for people, is they feel like they're there with you. And that's why I want you to use live video, because you can also answer questions and you can actually learn about your audience. Ashley and Scott both talked about you need to be paying attention to what your customers need. How are they feeling? What are the problems they're dealing with? You know how you learn some of those things? You listen to them. And you know how you get to listen to them? You have conversations with them. They're not going to talk to you if you're not out there. And so if you use live video, they can comment, you can read their comments, you can get real-time feedback right there in the moment. It works. It's amazing. So these are just some fun pictures of going live. I literally have been going live since Facebook Live came out, but I also have done blitzes. And so I actually like to encourage people, you want to get over your fear of going live, commit to going live every single day for a week. And if you tell me that you can't do that, well, I did it for 30 days. So, and believe me, I seem confident on video. I did not used to be confident on video, but it's fun. And people always remember. People tell me, they talk to me all the time. They're like, Melanie, there's 2 times I remember you going live that I'll never forget. One is when you were talking about marketing and you were fishing. You caught a fish live on video while you were talking about marketing. Yes, I did, because somebody dared me to do it. So I did it. The other time that people remember my live video is last year. So you guys see this hair, right? This requires maintenance. So when the whole freaking pandemic decided to shut down businesses, right? The hair salons were a part of that. That was a big problem for us short hair people, okay? This gets cut every 2 weeks. So at about week 6, I texted my stylist. I said, I'm going to cut my own hair today. I bought the clippers. What do I need to know? And so she sent me a video to watch on YouTube, and I watched it, and I was like, okay, well, why don't I just do this on live video? Because if I screw it all up, everyone will know why my hair is all jacked up. So I literally cut my hair live on video in my restroom, and people remember it. They always tell me, they're like, I was like depressed and bored, and one night, and then you start cutting your hair on live video, and it was hilarious. And thank God I did. You know why? Because I got to a point where I was like, ooh, I'm not really sure about something. There were like 4 stylists on, and they were like typing me tips. And they were commenting. So I actually crowdsourced some help on cutting my hair, right? Angel has short hair. She's like, oh yeah, I remember all that. You guys, that was hell on earth for us short hair people. It was really bad. Okay, here's the deal. I want you to consider using an application called StreamYard. You only need your phone to go live. You don't actually have to have anything at all. You can literally grab your phone right after today's Zoom meeting, go to your Facebook business page and go live and say, there's this crazy chick named Melanie who has really short hair and really fancy purple lights, and she told me to go live, so I'm going live today. Go live and ask questions. But if you want to have some really amazing experiences and some great shows where you can interview people, you can bring guests on, kind of like what Lynn's been doing. She's been doing these interviews like in person, but you could actually do it virtually. You can use this app called StreamYard, and you can use the free version. You can share your screen, you can pull up comments, you can do all kinds of great stuff, and you can produce some amazing shows with the click of a few buttons. So I would love for you guys to try out StreamYard. It's the app that I personally believe in the most. And so I wanted to make that suggestion. Here's the deal. The best way to get started with all of this stuff is to just get started. I mean, if you wait till you're ready, you will never be ready. And then think about all those people that you don't get to share your gifts with because you wouldn't show up, right? Even when it's hard and it sucks and all the crap. You're like, I don't know what to do. My business is suffering. I'm lost. Get on live video and just start connecting with people. Start making connections. The best way to get started is get started. But you can also practice inside of a Facebook group. Just go create a Facebook group with just yourself or a friend and practice going live in the Facebook group. You can also go live and make the privacy setting to just only me. And then you can practice that way. Because I do understand if you're like, okay, how do I actually figure out how to go live without actually going live? You can do this inside a Facebook group that no one's in, or like I said, change the privacy setting to only me. And when you go live, no one will see it but you. And then you can delete it when you're done, right? Okay, so I am going to paste some comments that have a few resources inside or for these things, because I have a couple podcast episodes that are all about content, coming up with content ideas, and also how to show up. And it kind of reiterates some of the things I said. But then the other thing I wanted to offer to you guys, because again, creating these connections, you might be like, I don't know what to go live about. Well, I have 50 ideas for you. So I will paste these in the comments right now so that you guys can go and check these out later. Again, I would just encourage you to listen to the podcast episodes, but the 50 ideas, it will give you a bunch of ideas. I have literally designed it for kind of like local business. And so I hope that it helps you guys come up with ideas. And you can use these ideas for content or live videos or just pre-recorded videos. I don't really care. So they're very versatile ideas, and just have fun with it. So I didn't see any of the comments, so I'm not sure if anybody had any questions because I was paying attention. I couldn't see them actually. So let me grab these links really fast, but I'm done. There you go. There's my little firecracker, fire you up on a Monday morning. Tough love, people go after it, get her done.
We covered a lot of content in 55 minutes. Are there any questions from our participants for any of our speakers? I know I've gotten a few questions. Let's see here. You guys see my link, my screen?
Well, we did.
See. Let's try this one. There we go. Any questions for any of our participants? One question I got, Ashley, was for you, and maybe Melanie and Scott, you can fill in here some of the blanks. When you're launching a new idea or a new project like the veggie trays or the Super Bowl packs, how long should you give your audience to participate in those? Or how long should you wait before you launch them? What's the timeline?
Ooh, I have a marketing answer and then I have a Scott Underwood answer.
Okay.
But I want Scott Underwood to tell his answer too, but my brain went to two spots. The Scott Underwood side says you need to understand what's realistic within your supply chain and your business to actually do what you promise. So if you try to like make this happen and then you sell out of it quickly, or your interface on your website sucks or something happens, then my experience is just completely ruined because you weren't set up foundationally to do it, right? And then my marketing brain says, I'll give you a perfect example. I mean, I'm going to be super honest. We talked before the call today, you know, on Friday, we had like 12 of you registered to come to this meeting. And then today we had 30 of you. And why is that? Because we tend to make decisions when we know closer to time what's going to happen in our life, right? So you can give yourself enough space, but you've got to know your audience and your customer too, and how they behave. So if you're in a business where I think I saw Rachel Hughes in the chat talking about how her business is very food related. You know, if she goes out and buys a lot of food, and she said this, and nobody shows up, it's going to waste. And she's wasted the inventory, the dollars, and everything, right? So what I would tell her would be different than somebody else who may have something like an event like this, where the only thing on the line is time. So you really do need to understand financially what's at risk, and then how does that relate into your promotional timeline? That's what I would say.
Scott, would you like to add to that?
I would jump in and say that Melanie said, you know, basically get started, you know, stop getting ready to get ready and do something. But jumping on with what Ashley said, start at the proper scale. You know, if you know you're going to run out, say supplies are limited. And partly how you figure out what your customers want is that you ask them, and then you put it out there and you'll see if they vote for your idea with their dollars. And so if you spend all your time getting ready to get ready, you just don't ever know. If you go and Lean Startup is, Ashley had a slide about ideation, but Lean Startup kind of is the same way. Put your test idea out there, see if anybody likes it, do more of it. If they don't like it, do less of it. So I would say
Mhm.
don't invest millions of dollars before you find out whether your customers like it or not. Or
Yeah, and
hundreds of dollars.
tactically, you could run a poll on social media and say, would you like the veggie tray? Would you like the taco cookies? Would you like, you know what I mean? Like, get some quick polls on people. And if you thought, oh, people are going to love the veggie tray because they loved it last year, but then you find out that you run the poll and they really would have killed it for a taco tray, you wouldn't have known until you asked, right? And then you do the quick tactical test and then you move forward.
I also think that when you do something like that, you're giving people a quick preview. And then, when if you crowdsource the answer, and then when you actually follow through, when you're able to follow through, they already knew it was coming. So you're priming the pump a little bit there because they were involved in the process, and they feel connected to it because they were chiming in about it. I mean, it's just human nature that people love to have a voice and love to have a say. And so if they did offer input and you follow through with it, they're more likely to, one, pay attention, and two, be a consumer.
Yeah, and I think there's some teachers in the call too, and that applies with students as well. If you get them to buy into the learning process, you've like tricked them into teaching them what you wanted to teach them anyway, which is like the ultimate teacher hack that I try to do too. So while we're here talking about business, I do think there's ways to apply this to whatever world you live in.
Absolutely. The next question I have is, a lot of the advice that was given today was to talk to your people. And if you have a small network, that can be hard because a lot of our family and friends will tell us we're doing great when they don't love to give tough love. How do you build a network that's going to support you?
That's a great Melanie question.
Everyone was quiet.
I know it's a hard one. I think finding your people, here's the thing, it doesn't happen overnight. So get comfortable because it's going to take a little while. Because here's the deal, you may find people and you may talk to them and then you realize they're not the right people. And so there's two things that I'm going to say to this. One, you have to do the work to find people. So you are going to have to network. You're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to turn your camera on. You have to do all these things to put yourself out there so that you're accessible. Get into Facebook groups, connect with people, and then make a reach out to them and say, hey, I'd love to talk more, learn more about your business. I'm just trying to connect with people. Like, I know that I'm an extrovert, if any of you couldn't tell, but I mean, I need people. So for me, like I'm a solopreneur. So like when I work alone, my creativity is not as good, but when I can interact with others, it helps. So even if you're just reaching out and saying that that's what you want, you just want to interact, do it. But here's the other thing is you have to put yourself out there as authentically as possible, because the worst thing you can do is to be what you think they want you to be. And then all of a sudden you're attracting somebody to you. And then guess what? You were being fake. Well, now what? You have to maintain the fakeness to maintain the relationship. And then you're going to be like, I don't even like this person. They think I like this because I'm doing this. Like it's horrible. We've all done it. We've all totally been the way we thought we were supposed to be. And then you end up friends with somebody. And then you're basically like, this person's a jerk face and I don't even like them anymore, and they're not who I want to be with, and they think I'm this way and I'm not this way. Like, it's awful. And then next thing you know, you either have a fight or it just goes bad or whatever. When you're as authentic as possible, you're going to be attracting the right people and repelling people that aren't a good fit for you. And then the last thing I'll say is get comfortable being uncomfortable, because as we all know, you need people that can coach you and you need to be able to listen and take that feedback. So that's what I was going to say.
Scott mentioned in the comments to define what support you need.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to all of our small businesses, is to understand what their list of needs is and then finding those people who can fill those gaps.
Yeah. And I would just add, as somebody who gets asked for feedback all the time, the most frustrating thing is when someone sends me a message and they're like, can I pick your brain? And I don't know what that means. Why do you want to pick my brain? What do you want to talk about? What are your questions? Are you going to come prepared? Are you like, I don't know that. I cannot reply to that. So I need you to come to me and say, Ashley, I'm launching a business. I would love 30 minutes with you so that I can ask you how to actually do a customer empathy map and how much time you think it'll take to launch. Even if you don't know, I just want your guess. I will say yes to that because I know what I'm walking into. But if you come to me and you say, hey, I just want to pick your brain, I'm like, I don't know what I'm walking into, right? And even just the other day, I had somebody on Twitter who I don't know message me and say, hey, can I ask you a question? I will literally pay you in like a beer or a coffee, but I just need to know this one thing. And I thought, that is so funny. Like, okay, like what is it? What am I walking into? And I was intrigued just by the offer because I was like, okay.
You wanted the beer.
I did. I was like, how is this going to happen? And he had just a very tactical question about LinkedIn, and I was able to walk him through it. And it took me 12 seconds to answer because I just knew immediately. And then I went back and told him what it was. And he's like, oh, wow, that was it. And then 10 minutes later, I had a Starbucks gift card in my thing. And I didn't even expect it. I was just intrigued by the initial like, oh, and it took me 2 seconds. And I was like, wow. And then I build a stronger connection with him. And guess what? I took extra steps to help him even more. Right. So I got to be honest, it's all about reciprocation of my time and my ideas and what we're going to do for each other. I'm not saying you need to send me a gift card every time you ask me a question. That's not at all the point of the statement. That person came prepared very clearly with the ask, and I was able to articulate and understand and knew that I would be the right person. And if I wasn't, I would have said, go talk to Melanie. Because Lynn asked me questions about video, and I said, I don't know anything about video. You need to talk to Melanie. And then look what happened. And now look at Lynn now. She's like,
Now Lynn's a rock star.
I know, right? And I owned, like, I don't know how to help you because that's not my thing. Yeah. And I was able to move on. And that saved everybody time, 100%, because we defined the support up front.
I think that is such good advice, you guys. I mean, I am in the same boat as Ashley. I get DMs probably every single day from people I know and also people I don't know. And when they tell me they want to pick my brain, you know what, as a consultant and a coach, I immediately go to, okay, well, my brain costs more than the $4.50 coffee that you're going to spend for the hour that we're going to sit and have coffee together. But if you tell me what it is you need help with, I'm honestly going to come with a lot more empathy, and I'm going to want to help you. Because just like Ashley said, I don't know what I'm walking into. And you know why we feel this way? Because we've experienced it so many times. And you all probably have too, right? And
yeah,
so,
for your own businesses, to your own point, like it's no different than somebody coming into Lori's shop and being like, can I have those pants?
I loved that how you said be specific. And I do think that you are going to get a response. And I'm going to go back and just say, go further than sending them the text, record a video of yourself and say why you are asking them, right? First say, I saw that you did this presentation and you talked about empathy, and I just had a couple follow-up questions. So I have a couple of questions, and you may even go ahead and give Ashley the questions and then be done. And Ashley's gonna be like, oh my God, this person. And she's
I'm gonna cry, and then I'm gonna write back.
She will not say no. She will not say no. So yeah,
it's true.
Lynn raised her hand. I thought she was gone.
Maybe she wants to say something. I don't know if she's giving you a high five or if she wants to say something.
No, I did want to say something. I can't figure out where the chat is to put a chat message in. So anyway, I just want to say that Melanie and her team, her just whole boot camp, a way that she's put that together, it has been real inspiring to have the courage to go out there and do that. Mm-hmm. I do basically play the role as the producer, and my husband is the online person. So I don't really have to have a lot of courage to do that, but he's a natural and he loves doing it. And there's a few people on here that we have done interviews for, that it's a fun way to spotlight another business. And while doing that, you're getting more exposure for your business. Mm-hmm. And we're doing it weekly. So it's really gaining traction right now, where people are now starting to call us to want to be interviewed. So
I love that.
Please say it's a positive thing to go live on Facebook Live and to have a plan as to how you're going to do it. Melanie's boot camp really takes you through all the steps on how to do that. And I know she's planning on doing another one in April if anybody wants to do that.
Yes. Lynn, I'll send you your check when we're done here. We just wrapped up the live experience of the boot camp. But I am going to be launching that again in April. So yeah. So if anybody is wanting to know more about that, just send me a DM, send me a voice DM, and I'll give you all the information.
And I do just want to acknowledge really quickly that this is all scary. I think all of us hinted on it in different ways. Scott brought it up. Mel brought it up. The fear will be your biggest enemy in all of this. Even as a consumer, it's my biggest enemy if I don't know how to figure that out. So identify that fear that you have and talk through it. And it could be with Scott, it could be with Melanie, it could be with me from a content or storytelling perspective. Some people don't know how to tell their story, so they don't do it at all. And that prevents them from doing any of the other steps that Scott or myself mentioned. They don't know how to articulate that upfront need, or kind of identify why they're doing what they're doing. So don't let fear win. That's kind of my inspirational note to end on. It's not going to do anybody any good.
Well, thank you to Melanie, Ashley, and Scott for joining us today. We could not have done this without you. And you all three of you bring such unique ideas and such creative energy to our business community anyways, but to have you on a panel together is phenomenal. So drop them a note in the chat box to say thank you. And then I've included their information at the end of the slides here, so you can reach out to them. I also, as the chamber person today, I want to remind you to continue to shop local through the month of February and into the spring. Use the hashtag #LoveLocalWC, and we're doing giveaways throughout the month. So we're excited to support our local businesses and see you all participating in those events. I do want to remind you that our upcoming business education webinar at the end of the month will also be small business focused, and will be a panel of attorneys asking all of your questions about legal things for your business. So make sure you can join us on that date. The registration link will be coming live this afternoon. Here's contact information. If you have any questions about the chamber, you can reach out to myself. Melissa's on the call. Lynette and Daniel are also here. And then Ashley, Scott, and Melanie's contact is all there too. So thank you for joining us today. This recording will be available on YouTube this afternoon and will be aired on WCTV. So thank you all.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.